Sources say the Hong Kong national security law expected to be voted on tomorrow entails a three-tier penalty system. The US and China impose tit-for-tat visa restrictions. Donald Trump condemned for retweeting a video of a supporter shouting a racist slogan.
Welcome to TVB News. The national security law for Hong Kong is expected to be voted on in Beijing tomorrow and come into force immediately.
Sources say the legislation would entail minimum penalties ranging from 3 to 10 years in prison. Jacqueline reports.
Scrutiny of the national security law by the National People's Congress Standing Committee is now in its home stretch. That's according to Tian Fei-Long, director of the Chinese Association of Hong Kong and Macau Studies. He says the proposed law would be voted on tomorrow before the three-day NPC session draws to a close. Another source close to Beijing says the latest draft of the law includes a three-tier penalty system with a minimum sentence of 3 years behind bars. Depending on the severity of a case, jail terms could be kicked up to 5 and 10 years. But would secession and subversion entail longer or even life imprisonment? The source says there would only be possibilities of prison terms longer than 10 years if these cases are heard in the High Court. On the much concerned retroactive effects, the source says the latest draft has made no mention of it so far. That means the court could not prosecute acts like sedition committed before the law's promulgation. Pro-establishment lawmakers say even without retroactivity, what the suspects did in the past should be considered to corroborate their criminal intent. Pan-Democrats scoffed at the suggestion.
They want to drive fear and oppression into the hearts of the Hong Kong people. No criminal offense can have retrospective effect. That is the most basic and fundamental legal principle.
Kwok also slammed Beijing for deliberately sidestepping the High Court's jury system to hear these cases. Jacqueline, TVB News.
Beijing announced this afternoon that it will impose visa restrictions on U.S. individuals with egregious conduct related to Hong Kong. The announcement made by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs came after Washington announced visa restrictions on some Chinese officials over the national security legislation issue. The ministry's spokesman, Zhao Lijian, told reporters that China is urging the United States to stop meddling in Hong Kong's affairs. He also warned that China will react with strong countermeasures if the United States continues with its actions.
The government has revealed the second batch of beneficiaries under its employment support scheme. That involves over 330,000 businesses. Among them, 98% are micro, small, or medium-sized enterprises with no more than 50 employees. Receiving over $43 million, jewelry company Look For Group is taking the biggest bite of the pie to support almost 1,500 workers. That's followed by J&D Catering Limited, receiving $42 million for about 2,000 staff members. In total, the subsidies amount to about $6.5 billion, safeguarding more than 280,000 jobs. Since last Friday, roughly $7.7 billion has been disbursed to a third batch of applicants. Authorities also hope to finish processing all eligible applications by mid-July.
The government today announced details about the one-off living subsidy for low-income households under the Community Care Fund. More than 270,000 people are expected to benefit from the scheme. More on that from Pinky Wong.
The program targets those who are not living in public housing and not receiving comprehensive social security assistance. They must be permanent residents of Hong Kong and do not own any properties in the city to be eligible for the subsidy. Homeless people can also apply. Among the eligibility criteria, the average monthly household income in the past 3 months must not exceed specified limits. For instance, the limit for a family of 4 is $33,500, with the household rent limit being $16,750. The subsidy amount ranges from $4,500 for one-person households to $15,500 for households of 5 or more people. Applications will be handled in phases according to household sizes until the end of November. Applicants can start submitting forms in person or by mail.
2 months is the time that we sort of pledge that we should be able to provide most of the subsidy to the most of the applicants. For the first batch, the single-person households, it's very likely some of them will receive the subsidy in late August.
Application forms are available at inquiry centers of the Home Affairs Department and District Social Welfare Offices of the Social Welfare Department. Applicants are required to provide documents such as identity proof and rent receipts.
Because of the economic downturn, there can be more households becoming eligible if the number exceed what we expected at the very beginning. We can go back to seek additional funding. So that should not be a concern. We will launch it 2 times within a year. But it doesn't really mean that we are making any plans for regularization. So to speak, the relief measures are never meant to be regularized anyway.
The second round of the program is expected to roll out in the first half of next year with the same eligibility criteria. There will be no need for those who are eligible this time around to file new applications. To reach out to low-income ethnic minority households, the government has prepared leaflets in 7 ethnic minority languages. The pamphlets will be distributed at schools so students can provide information about the program to their families. Thank you all. TVB News.
The coronavirus pandemic reached a grim milestone of 500,000 deaths worldwide and 10 million infections. The mainland reported 12 new cases Sunday, with 7 local infections, all from Beijing. The capital has reported more than 300 cases in this latest outbreak, which started 2 weeks ago. The British government, meanwhile, is considering a lockdown for the city of Leicester amid a spike of COVID-19 cases. This would be the first local lockdown and comes after 658 infections were recorded in the area in the 2 weeks up to June 16th. South Korea reported 42 new infections in the Seoul Metropolitan area, forcing authorities to consider stronger social restrictions. Seoul has been at the center of a virus resurgence in the country since late last month. Australia's second most populous state of Victoria is considering reimposing social distancing restrictions. This comes after 75 new COVID-19 infections were reported in the state in the past 24 hours, the largest daily outbreak in more than 2 months. As new cases mount, Victoria has embarked on a massive testing regime. With 2.5 million COVID-19 infections, the United States has a quarter of all global cases. It also has the highest death toll at more than 125,700. The country is also trending in the wrong direction, with more than 40,000 new infections reported in the last 3 straight days. That has some officials rethinking their refusal to wear face masks. Peter Coves has details.
The state of Texas has become a new hotspot for the coronavirus in the United States, with more than 5,300 new infections. It is also one of numerous states that's also rolled back reopening plans. Both Vice President Mike Pence and Texas Governor Greg Abbott acknowledged there has been a rapid rise in cases in the state since reopening in early May. But Pence did mention one thing that can help curb the spread of the virus.
If your local officials, in consultation with the state, are directing you to wear a mask, we encourage everyone to wear a mask in the affected areas. And where you can't maintain social distancing, wearing a mask is just a good idea. And it will, we know from experience, will slow the spread of the coronavirus.
The vice president has been reluctant to wear a mask before this visit to Texas, which also included a stop at the First Baptist Dallas Church. U.S. President Donald Trump refuses to wear one in public and criticizes those that do. Overall, cases are spiking, including in Florida, which is becoming a new epicenter with about 8,500 cases Sunday. Officials are announcing more beaches will be closing there to avoid further spread of the virus as they try to tamp down on large gatherings ahead of the July 4th holiday. In what was previously the epicenter in the U.S., 5 people died Saturday from the coronavirus in New York State, the lowest daily death toll in the state since March 15th. During the peak of the pandemic in April, nearly 800 people were dying a day from the virus. The lower infection numbers allowed the state to reopen gradually. St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City held its first indoor Sunday Mass in 3 months. Capacity was limited to 25%, and health precautions, including social distancing, were in place. Peter Caveos, TVB News.
President Trump is being condemned for retweeting a video of one of his supporters shouting a racist slogan. The video shows a man in a golf cart shouting "White Power" while being confronted by anti-Trump protesters. Trump's retweet thanks the great people of the Villages, the Florida retirement community in the clip. Trump later deleted the tweet.
Elsewhere, a gunman from a separatist militant group attacked a stock exchange in the Pakistani city of Karachi today. Police say 2 guards and a police officer were killed. Security forces say they killed all 4 gunmen who had been armed with grenades and automatic rifles. The Baluchistan Liberation Army has claimed responsibility for the attack. The group has been waging an insurgency for years, demanding independence for Pakistan's southwestern Baluchistan province. In 2018, the militants attacked the Chinese consulate in Karachi, killing 2 people. The group has also said it is opposed to a multi-billion-dollar Chinese port project linking South and Central Asia to China.
Still to come on tonight's news. A setback for the French president in municipal elections. In Taiwan, scuffles between ruling and opposition party members at the legislature. And a new African wildlife exhibit at Ocean Park. Welcome back to TVB News. France's president has been handed a setback in the second round of the municipal elections. Emmanuel Macron's centrist party had hoped the elections would help anchor his young party in towns and cities across France ahead of an anticipated 2022 re-election bid.
However, France's Green Party and its left-wing allies made significant gains in several big cities. The vote, which saw a record low turnout amid the pandemic, was meant to choose mayors and municipal councillors in about 5,000 towns and cities. Nationwide turnout was estimated at 35%, compared with about 52% in the last municipal elections in 2014.
Vous m'avez accordé votre confiance.
In Paris, the incumbent socialist mayor, Anne Hidalgo, celebrated victory with about 50% of votes and thanked the voters who did turn out. The re-election will allow her to oversee the 2024 Summer Olympics.
Je ne pleurerai pas avec le cœur des pleureuses.
Conservative candidate Rashida Dati conceded defeat to Hidalgo, but she tempered it with a warning that low voter turnout will lead to more protests against government policies, calling it a dangerous cocktail that threatens the nation. France's 35,000 mayors set policy on issues from urban planning to education and the environment. The municipal elections also give the electorate an opportunity to support or punish a president mid-mandate. The Greens' stunning performance will put President Emmanuel Macron under new pressure to fight climate change. In one bright spot for Macron, his Prime Minister, Edouard Philippe, won his bid to become mayor of the northern port city of Le Havre. Philippe has seen his popularity increase significantly in recent weeks. Macron has said he wasn't considering the elections as a pro- or anti-government vote. Still, a government reshuffle is expected in the coming weeks.
The U.S. military released rare video featuring exchange activities between U.S. and Taiwanese military personnel. The footage was posted on Facebook in February 2019 by the U.S. Army 1st Special Forces Group. A 44-second long video entitled "Excellence" shows soldiers from the U.S. and Taiwan training together. The Ministry of National Defense in Taiwan has confirmed the content of the video, calling it a part of ordinary military exchanges.
Scuffles broke out in Taiwan's legislature today over President Tsai Ing-wen's nomination of her senior aide, Chen Chu, to head the Control Yuan, the island's top government watchdog. Members of the ruling Democratic Progressive Party broke through barricades set up by the opposition Kuomintang. This after KMT members occupied the Legislative Yuan overnight. Some splashed white powder and water during the hour-long fight. The lawmakers eventually agreed on having an interim meeting to discuss the issue. Chen used to be the mayor of the southern city of Kaohsiung. KMT said Chen's team is being impeached by the Control Yuan and she is not fit for the proposed appointment.
Hong Kong has gone 16 straight days without a local COVID-19 infection. But the city did report 4 imported cases, bringing the overall tally to 1,203.
This is raising fears about overseas travelers being potential carriers of the coronavirus, especially as some remain trapped at the airport. Kana Chu has more.
Hong Kong's latest coronavirus patients touched down last night from either the Philippines or the UK. For more than 2 weeks, coronavirus cases in Hong Kong have stemmed from travelers entering the region. That's a mixed blessing as infection risks persist if potential COVID-19 carriers stay trapped in the airport, especially while plans to lift certain transit flight restrictions remain up in the air.
I think the immigration department, they do have the authority to send them back home or to go to their destinations.
But the solution may not be so straightforward when foreign border control policies are involved. In one case, a Vietnamese traveler arriving from Canada has been stranded at the airport for 3 months due to trouble boarding a transit flight back home. That's after the Vietnamese government sealed its borders to international flights in mid-March, just before the person could exit from the SAR.
The Hong Kong government, should, approach to, the Vietnam government and to see if any particular arrangement can be made.
Still, under normal circumstances, airlines are expected to ensure passengers' entry eligibility at their final destinations. According to Jeremy Tam, flight operators are subject to penalties if their failure to do so results in a passenger's deportation back to their place of origin.
Hong Kong government, they should send off another round of circulations and make sure all those airlines understand the latest requirement in Hong Kong.
Kana Chu, TVB News.
A new African wildlife exhibit opens this week at Ocean Park. Still, operators admit the park is facing challenging times despite a huge bailout package from the government. Here's Naomi Harilela.
Hakuna Matata. Guests will have no worries when they immerse themselves into the world of meerkats and giant tortoises. After some 5 years of planning, the $60 million exhibit is finally open to the public. This comes on the heels of the government's $5.4 billion bailout. The park's chairman-elect will soon begin his leadership as Leo Kung steps down.
It's important to make clear that the coming 12 months and beyond will be extremely challenging for the park, whether it's the park's financial conditions or the local economy or COVID-19 or the global tourism market.
The new African-themed exhibit features 20 meerkats and 2 Aldabra giant tortoises.
We do believe that this species originate from Africa, can bring in the message of conservation education to our guests. And in that, I emphasize a lot that no matter the meerkats, tortoise, or even the human being, we are all the stakeholders living in this planet. We should learn how to respect, learn how to share the resources and use it wisely.
Visitors can familiarize themselves with the life of meerkats. This installation mimics termite mounds where meerkats and their families climb to sense any danger. Naomi Haralila, TVB News.
That's the news for tonight. Thanks for watching.
Good night.